Disclaimer. This video contains video footage and music that I do not own. A list of credits can be found at the end of the video. This video contains frightening imagery, flashing lights, and depictions of firearms. Viewer discretion is advised. This video is not intended for children under the age of 13, nor is my channel. The Child Online Privacy Protection Act, or Gobbos, states that nobody under the age of 13 should have, among other things, a YouTube account. Hello boyos, girlos, and non-binary genderlos, and welcome to another Lost Media video. Sometimes, media falls into obscurity, and then it becomes lost. Sometimes, media is destroyed. Sometimes it even gets stolen. And then there's these. Sometimes, people make up lost media for a variety of reasons. Maybe they misremembered an old piece of media regularly in circulation. Maybe they wanted to scare someone with a creepy urban legend. Or maybe they just lied about its existence intentionally for a laugh. Either way, sometimes, lost media just doesn't exist. So here are 10 pieces of lost media that never actually existed. But before we get into it, I'm introducing a shift to the format, which will be normalized as time goes on. Introducing the updates section, which will be inserted before the first entry in every video to keep you up to date on what's going on behind the scenes. Unless nothing happens, in which case it'll be skipped entirely. Today we have two updates. First and foremost, mentioning Search for Lost Media Refugees got stale really quickly in 14 pieces of lost media, so instead, I'm introducing these graphics in the top left corner of the screen, which illustrate which episode the entry came from, if it did at all. Here on screen now is an up-to-date list of remastered or updated segments from previous videos to make up for lost time. As you can see, I did find the Season 2 documents, so these things will be as up-to-date as possible. In other news, I'm looking for entries for future volumes of absolutely hilarious pieces of lost media, and while I've got enough for a second video in the series, I'm in need of assistance finding other ones. I'm not doing any repeats, so if you know of a particularly funny piece of lost media, leave it in the comments below so I can look into it. Anyway, back to the video. The Legend of Dratini is the 35th episode of the first season of the Pokemon anime. I shouldn't have to explain what Pokemon is, so I won't. Google it if you've been living under a rock for the past 25 years. Anyway, The Legend of Dratini released in Japan on November 25th, 1997, but was never aired outside of Asia due to a controversial scene where Ash is held at gunpoint by the Safari Warden Kaiser, asking him if he wants to get shot. The episode was unsurprisingly pulled by 4Kids, who produces the dubbed version of the anime in the United States. The US English version is used as a source of dubs outside of Asia, hence why it wasn't seen outside of it. The absence of the episode actually causes a plot hole, as Ash just suddenly has 29, technically 30, Tauros, which he effectively caught off screen. The search then began when people realized that the footage from the episode was used in the PokeRap segment for Dratini. The likely explanation is that this was the only episode with usable footage of Dratini, as it wasn't until the 251st episode, Beauty is Skin Deep, which obviously didn't exist at the time, that Dratini reappeared. Eric Stewart, the voice actor for Brock in the English dub, later confirmed that the dub version never existed, as the Broadcast Standards and Practices Division of 4Kids denied approval of the dub to be made, and thus it never was, and by proxy, never aired. Special Ed is the name given to an episode of the show Ed, Edd and Eddy, which was proposed during the show's production in the 1990s. The only evidence of the episode's proposal was an offhanded mention by series creator Danny Antonucci, in which he stated that the episode was scrapped due to being too real. What kind of real he means can only be speculated, but some theories point to it being an episode about Ed going to special education, hence the name. Or it could just be that it didn't fit with the show's wacky nature. Either way, the episode's confirmation of non-existence can be traced to a video by Bedhead Bernie, released on October 10th, 2016, wherein he proved that the episode never made it into production and was only a concept. A rejected concept at that. Raven Malase, the storyboard artist for the show, was asked if anyone at AKA Cartoon, the studio behind it, remembered working on the episode, to which they said that no one did. Bet you never thought you'd see these guys again, huh? Anyway, A Bunny's Tale was meant as a follow-up to the infamous Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa, and was even teased at the end of Believe in Santa. The film was going to air on NBC affiliate station WNYT in Albany, New York, and UPN affiliate K15CZ, now KSPR, in Springfield, Missouri, on April 13th and 20th, 2003, respectively. This led researchers to believe it was fully finished, just never aired, or that it was sporadically aired on minor stations, much like Believe in Santa was. However, when people believed to be involved with the production of A Bunny's Tale were contacted, it was revealed that the film was never made into anything tangible and never left its first draft. The studio ceased production before any recording or designing was done, leaving the film unproduced. Like the Pokemon segment, I shouldn't have to explain what Five Nights at Freddy's is due to it taking the world and internet by storm. Either way, a trailer was released for the game on June 14th, 2014. After the trailer was released, a user named Walmeet commented on the trailer, claiming that an alternate version was made. Fast forward to July 15th, 2020, where a redditor named Sal Kaliakmek contacted Walmeet on Twitter, where he noticed that the alternate trailer was missing. The trailer supposedly contained a version of the endoskeleton which wasn't in the final game, whereafter a user named InvisibleFox23 commented with a picture of the endoskeleton. The search began and continued for a single day before Redditor The Freddy Channel found a link to creator Scott Cawthon's Google Plus account using the Wayback Machine. There were 3 videos on it, 2 of which were re-uploaded to Scott's YouTube channel. However, a video entitled 5 Nights wasn't, and is considered completely lost, as the link to it was dead. That same day, Walmeet posted on Twitter that the trailer he was talking about didn't exist, as he was inadvertently talking about the main trailer. In reality, he was referring to the aforementioned image of the red-eyed endoskeleton, while the regular endoskeleton was in the final game. The search came to a close, although 5 Nights remains an unsolved mystery to this day. Stone Temple Pilots is an American grunge/alt-rock band from San Diego, California, and formed in 1985. After some local gigs and gaining a moderate fanbase, the band recorded a demo album in 1990, which featured some songs which would be included in their first album, Core. One of the songs that was left out was called Only Dying, which was quite popular amongst the band's fanbase due to it featuring a darker tone that would become more prominent in their later works. In 1993, the band was approached to record a song for the soundtrack of the movie The Crow, and were going to record Only Dying for it. However, after Brandon Lee's death and before the re-recording, Only Dying was replaced last minute by Big Empty from their next album, Purple. The demo was leaked in the years following and was even featured on Core's 20th anniversary release, but the re-recording never surfaced. Later on, the DeLeo brothers, Robert and Dean, later dismissed the rumor of realized re-recording in an article for the Rolling Stone in 2017, putting the search to rest. X, The Man with the X-Ray Eyes, is a 1963 horror film which features Dr. James Xavier, a man who experiments on his eyes to enhance his visual capabilities. However, this later drives him into madness, as what starts as simple seeing people through walls later turns into him seeing through the entire universe itself. In the actual ending, he stumbles into a tent in which he follows the advice of an evangelist who tells him to literally pluck out his offending eyes before he blinds himself by doing so, where the movie ends. In Dance Macabre by Stephen King, he claims that Roger Corman, the director of the film, recorded an alternate ending, in which the blinded Xavier screams that he can still see, making his sacrifice pointless. However, in an interview with Corman talking about his previous projects, he stated that King merely wrote the ending after seeing the film, and that it was never actually filmed. He did note, however, that if he ever remade the film, he would use that idea for the ending. In the early 2000s, an anonymous user added episode 29 to Wikipedia and TV.com listings of Nickelodeon anthology series KaBlam. Despite nothing surfacing, many believed that they'd seen episode 29 despite it never releasing. It didn't help that the episode is rife with fanfiction and theories which kept the rumor going for a really long time. Supposedly, the episode chronicled Henry and June's conclusion of the comic book series, where June would kiss Henry as she'd apparently had a crush on him before waving goodbye to the audience. So you may be wondering, how could people have seen it? Well, there are multiple theories. For one, the Mandela effect, where a large group of people end up with the same fabricated memory. The episode's description of an award show ceremony brings to light resistance is futile, and The Life with Loopy, Birthday Galibration, as both episodes revolved around that theme. There were theories that episode 29 was made into The Life with Loopy Galibration after the show was renewed. However, TV guides already stated that The Life with Loopy Galibration was already scheduled to air before episode 29, debunking that theory. On December 7th, 2015, creator Mark Merrick released a video on KaBlam Corner on his website entitled Episode 29. As it turns out, it was just the actual 29th episode of KaBlam being your logo here, as a sort of take that to the myth. Episode 29 was then confirmed not to exist. Merrick also allegedly confirmed that Henry and June don't like each other like that through a comment on a fan site. However, this rumor remains unsubstantiated, as no screenshots of said comment are available. Warning, this is where the flashing lights start. Skip to this timestamp to avoid them, or just tab out until then. You will hear this noise when it's safe to load. Polybius was an alleged video game supposedly released in 1981 by Sinislotion, who themselves don't actually exist. Legend goes that in several suburbs in Portland, Oregon, a new arcade cabinet had started appearing, which was very rare in that time. The game was supposedly popular to the point of addiction and incredibly long lines. Purportedly, Men in Black would constantly visit the machines to collect unknown data, presumably related to the game's psychoactive effects. Players suffered from many different ailments, such as insomnia, amnesia, hallucinations, night terrors, and many others. The machines then suddenly disappeared 1 month after its release in 1981 and were never seen again. It's speculated that Polybius was based on some bizarre occurrences in 1981, being located in Portland, Oregon. First, 2 players at a Portland arcade fell ill on the same day in 1981. The first due to a migraine from playing Tempest, which is often cited as inspiration for the legend, and the second collapsing due to a stomach pain after playing Asteroids for 28 hours in an attempt to beat a world record. A week later, another person died of a heart attack while chasing the world record for Berserk. 3 days later, the FBI was called into the Portland arcade after the owners were suspected of tampering with the machines in order to gamble. The origin of the game is very muddled, given the fact that nobody had heard of Polybius until they saw it on Usenet forums in 1994. However, this is only a rumor and likely confused for the Publius Enigma created by Pink Floyd. The earliest verifiable mentions were traced at coinop.org in as early as 2000 and GamePro magazine around the time from an anonymous tip. The game was purportedly made by a mysterious man named Stephen Roach, who wasn't even his real name, and incredibly fishy otherwise. He claimed that his friend studied Greek mythology and that's where the name Polybius came from. However, Polybius was a Greek historical figure, not a mythological one. He also dodged many inquiries about Polybius, showing either he didn't make it or really doesn't like people questioning his authority on the subject. At this point, it's safe to say that the legendary game doesn't exist, though it could be proven wrong later down the line. Only time will tell. Croc 3, Stone of the Gobbos, was an alleged threequel to the Croc game series created by Argonaut Software, which was speculated to be in development from 2001 to 2005 when Argonaut disbanded. Allegedly, the rights to Croc were given to ZeniMax after Argonaut's dissolution, so game development couldn't continue even if they wanted it to. The game picked up right where Croc 2 left off, with him fighting Baron Dante and having to save the Gobbos once again, but this time Baron Dante cast a spell which Croc needed to find the mystical Stone of the Gobbos to cleanse. The game would have had noticeable differences from the previous installments, such as co-op with Ginger, a character made for the game and Croc's love interest, being in control of the second player, and fully explorable hub worlds. The game began development in 2001 with the developers splitting into teams, with the core dev team only consisting of 10 people and suffering from engine problems, availability issues, and downsizing on the number of platforms they wanted to release the game on. Originally it was going to be a slew of platforms, but it was later shortened to the PlayStations 1 and 2, GameCube, and Xbox. The information I just told you was leaked to Unseen64 by some former Argonaut employees who were going to even leak a prototype before backpedaling and saying that ZeniMax was a cease and desist crazy type company. However, it was later confirmed on Unseen64 that ZeniMax did not own the Croc IP, rather Jez Sand, the creator of Croc and founder of Argonaut, still owns the rights to this day. So it would be impossible for Croc 3 to have been created by ZeniMax, cancelled due to ZeniMax acquiring it, or have a prototype get taken down from a cease and desist from ZeniMax. The game was then proven non-existent. Like last time, I'm saving the best case for last. A Day of SpongeBob SquarePants the Movie is an unauthorized mockumentary of SpongeBob SquarePants which was originally going to be distributed by Regal Films and MVD before the film was postponed due to obvious licensing issues. The director still plans to fund the film through crowdfunding, but this seems unlikely to ever come to fruition. Here's what people knew at the time. Regal Films' website gave the synopsis for the film. In this mockumentary, SpongeBob lives above ground like all Hollywood superstars. Afraid that SpongeBob is becoming old news, his boss runs a contest called Spend a Day with SpongeBob. The contest makes SpongeBob the talk of the town as thousands of kids enter to win. The lucky winner is Seth, and he is ecstatic about his day with SpongeBob. However, the day becomes a roller coaster ride as things do not go quite the way they planned. The filmmaker, only known as Mr. Orange, set out to make a film in lieu of the John Hughes films he watched growing up. He then approached many filmmakers, including Regal's own Jonathan Salami, but it was concluded that the film's cost was going way too far past Mr. Orange's budget. Orange understandably feared Viacom's lawyers, but was advised by another lawyer to make it live action, a parody, and acknowledge that it's unofficial, and that Viacom couldn't touch it. Orange then set out to make the film. First, he needed pitch materials. He decided to have artist Jorge Pacheco illustrate a drawing that gave off the same vibe as the Pineapple House, and Orange added a stock image of a boy jumping in the air. That's right, the kid didn't even appear in the movie. And those quotes? Non-existent companies lying to your face. Nevertheless, Regal Films offered to upload the cover to Amazon to gauge public interest through pre-orders. During this time, the film got a barcode, and the film first became known as an infamous case of lost media. However, the film then entered development hell with a temporary cancellation until Mr. Orange could crowdfund the film. In September 2016, he was going to launch the crowdfunding campaign, but never did for unknown reasons. On May 6, 2016, Bedhead Bernie contacted Regal alumni Lorenzo Hawley, who was involved with the film, after going through many hurdles and landing a classified ad. During the calls, Hawley regurgitated the info of the crowdfunding I gave you, and also denied that Regal's website has malware on it, which I'm pretty sure it still does, so don't go there. On August 3rd that same year, Bernie made a video with ongoing mysteries about the film and clarified some things with the help of Mr. Orange. Orange clarified that Regal is a distributor, not a film company or money laundering scheme. After debunking many theories, Orange also released the first 5 pages of the film's script, and that's probably all we'll ever have. Thanks for watching this video. Any pieces of lost media you'd like to see me talk about? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I have to fabricate some evidence of a video game's existence, so I'll see you next time. Goodbye.